Speaking of Boston, we're talking NBA. Best record in the NBA, I believe. Of course they do. We got to talk about biggest surprise in the NBA this season. You know, there's been a lot of changes in the off season. There's been a lot of changes in season. There's been some players that got traded last year to a team towards the end of the season. The team tanked. They didn't make the playoffs. If you don't
Oh,
know what we're
dang.
talking about, that's the 55% Dallas Mavericks. But then you also got to think about James Harden going over to the Clippers. Doc Rivers becoming the Bucks coach. Dame getting traded. So many surprises that happened before, during, and kind of like right around All-Star break to make some teams look like what?
Mm-hmm.
So Joe, what was your biggest surprise of this NBA season? Granted, it's not over yet, so we may have to revisit this topic. But as of now,
Based on the regular season, right?
yeah, based off
But
the record.
that's basically what we're doing. My biggest surprise, man, and I think you might have the same one I have. I don't know, but I wasn't go with OKC, but I'm gonna go with the New York Knicks. All right, the New York Knicks is my biggest surprise. I mean, because I wouldn't go with OKC. They're the youngest team since 04, 05 Suns to be the winning number one seed. But I'm not gonna go there. All right, because you can kind of see the potential. All right, with SG and everything. But the Knicks, on the other hand, Tombo, most surprising team. The Knicks and the Celtics are the only team that's in the East that have 50 wins or more. All right, so that's a big deal. I don't think nobody expected that. But Joe, they got a team. They got OG. They got all this. But listen, Jalen Brunson took it to a new level. All right, Jalen Brunson. Do y'all remember what happened early in the season? What Becky Hammond said? Becky Hammond said that he wasn't a 1A player. Y'all remember that?
They got a whole reel about everybody just clowning when he went over there. Because remember,
Crazy,
they got
right?
him instead of KD. They was like, "Well, this is the big name free agent."
And him instead of Donovan Mitchell. And they were like, "Oh, we want Spike." Even remember Stephen A. I want Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Brunson. All right. Before Becky Hammond said that, right? Before Becky Hammond said that, he was Jalen Brunson averaging 25 points a game, 6 assists, 4 rebounds, shooting 40% from the field with a 16-11 record. Pretty good. You know, that's good numbers. But since Becky Hammond made that statement, Jalen Brunson been averaging 30 points a game, 7 assists, 3.6 rebounds, shooting 48% with a 33-17 record. And guess what, Tomo? He did this with Julius Randle missing 36 games, OG missing 27 out of the 50 games he played with. He was with the Knicks. Mitchell Robinson missed 51 games this year, and Hartenstein has been on a minute restriction all year. And this dude still got that team to the number 2 seed. Jalen Brunson has more 40-point games this season than Damian Lillard, Jason Tatum, Kawhi Leonard, and Kyrie Irving combined. So I know you are 55% Mavs fan. Sorry, I got to throw you in it. But Kyrie been hurt. I get you. And he's number 2. But those are just the facts. Jalen Brunson this season, second in 45-point games, second in 40-point games, second in 35-point games. Guess who number 1? Luka Magic. His former teammate. Luka is number 1 in all those categories. All right? So Jalen Brunson, man, he did. And they improved, obviously, from last year. So Jalen Brunson, he got this New York Knicks team. Him and Tom Thibodeau. I get Thibodeau a lot of credit because he's the head coach of this team, managing all these injuries. I got to give it to the GM, bringing in some chemistry. They brought in Josh Hart last year, but this year they got DiVincenzo, right? They got 2 guys that played in Villanova, bringing in OG. So I got to say that this team, New York, they are possibly legit contenders in the East because they did what they did with all the injuries they had. Our full strength, him and OG, I think they're 20-something and 3. They only lost 3 games together the whole season, him and OG. So I would say the New York Knicks are the biggest surprise for me.
With the GM, he made the trade for OG too. So like, remember that. That's one of the things that helped this chemistry too. So he I knew he was gonna show up.
Oh, he outdid him too.
Ooh, competition. Shout out to Ty with the $9.99 super chat. Octagon, Pentagon, Hexagon. Don't care what's going. I don't care what it is. I don't care what gun. A boxer is gonna win. And ain't scared of that smoke. But no boxer doing UFC that's much of a pay cut.
Oh,
That's too much of a pay cut.
it is.
They wouldn't do that. They would do it like Floyd. I'm
Oh yeah,
bringing the money over
both
here.
parties are going together.
Yeah, I'm bringing the money over here.
Okay, Tomo, go ahead and simplify the joke.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
say hexagon, pentagon, octagon. I don't care what gun. The boxer gun win. I hear you, Ty.
Okay, Ty. So yeah,
Man.
man. Go ahead. Oh, yeah, it's on you.
Yeah, but that was a good game. So NBA biggest surprise for me. I know you went with the Knicks, but I'm gonna do something a little different. I'm gonna throw in a team and then I'm gonna throw in something else too, because it's a few players that surprised me this year.
Okay.
Like we had a topic where we was like, who could be the next face of the NBA? And I threw out a name because of how he was playing. Like he came off of a trade from Sacramento. He's always brought up when he win. Tyrese Halliburton was a big surprise to me. Like I seen how
Yeah.
he played last season, but this year he jumped right into the All-Star light and then he ran away with it before he got hurt. That's one of the players that was a big surprise. The leap that he took. Another one is SGA. He went from OKC being a rebuild team to now they got the number one seed in the West. Like we all know what SGA is capable of, but now he's actually being talked about in that light. Where remember what Doc told Kawhi, he was like, "Look, if you keep SGA, he's a young player. He's actually gonna be good." And Kawhi was like, "I don't care. I want Paul George." And either way, it worked out for both parties. Not for Doc because you see he got fired, but still, it worked out for both parties because now he got the number one seed. He was talked about being top 5 in the MVP runners. It was a back and forth. It was a comment in the NBA chat before the show started that SGA winning the number one seed makes a good case for Luka. I know that's gonna start a whole nother debate. So
good case for SGA.
Yeah, but but you know, my man Math Ties, we flip it. We talking about Luka here. That's so those are a few players that I just want to talk about. Biggest surprise. And another team, I mean, we got RBO Vaughn. He told us all of this. He said Paolo gonna be top 5. I don't know if he talking about Paolo or if he was talking about Orlando, but Orlando is definitely top 5, and they went from not even making the playoffs to being a contender in the East.
That's dope.
That team surprised me right there because everyone called them crazy. Like, you don't know what you're talking about, man. They all right, but they ain't gonna just jump to top 5. So yeah, those two, the players, and then Orlando Magic. That's a big surprise for me.
So hold on. So Kevo said SGA getting number one seed is hoping Luka case.
Let me go back.
Don't tell me Kevo said that. Kevo really is.
Quote Kevo, jump in the comments. Let me know if I'm reading this wrong, if I'm mistaken. But I think OKC becoming the number one seed helps Luka case more than SGA case. Shrug emoji.
What? Come on, bro. Are you serious? Who they beat, by the way, in the last game of the season?
They beat the Pistons. No, they lost to the Pistons. They lost to the Pistons.
Oh, my bad. They who they beat the game before the last game of the regular season? My bad. I think OKC, they beat the Mavericks by like 40, something like that. Come on, Kevo. Come on. SGA is in the MVP race, bro. Like, how does that help Luka more? Like, first of all,
he definitely said that.
First of all, Luka didn't even play the last few games, and they stuck at the 5 seed when they had a chance at the 4 seed. And SGA came back, and they snatched the 1 seed from Minnesota and Denver.
I told you it was going to spark a debate.
Huh?
I told you he was going to spark a debate, but I know once the show was over, if you in the NBA, you got to join the NBA chat to figure out how this is about to end. But yeah, he said it right before we came on air.
See, my case was if Minnesota win. Remember, I said Minnesota win, and OKC stays at 3. Luka got a good chance. But if OKC to number 1 seed, bro, Luka ain't winning MVP no more. It's over. It's either SGA or Jokic, and SGA just might win it.
This is about to be good.
And SGA just might win it, but yeah,
it's about to be good. I'm glad I said that right before you got to talk about the chats, because now you got to figure out how this about to end. Because
yeah, so we got to chat like Tom said. We got these Instagram chats. We got, man. Listen, we take the show on the road.